All right, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Amish Rebel Podcast. We greatly appreciate you guys doing that. I know I repeat myself in every video, and I really do appreciate you guys tuning in. LaVon and I both do. I speak for her right now. I think she does. Anyway, we are continuing on the conversation that we started last week with the budget newspaper. We started doing this article reading, doing these article reading episodes, and we hope you guys enjoyed last week's episode, and it looked like a lot of you did. We appreciate the comments that were submitted through that, and so we're going to do another episode of that, and hopefully here real soon we'll be able to continue on with the interviews, bringing on guests to interview. Just with our schedule right now, things are a little bit crazy, and so we're having to stick with one thing or one video per week, and hopefully we can start releasing more than one video here soon. But continuing on today's episode, if Lavina can find what she wants to read, she is shuffling through the newspaper. I have
one, but I'm not sure which is going to be the most interesting.
So you have it highlighted, or are you...
I do, yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, anyway, there's a few things that I wanted to talk about before we get started as well. You guys have been sharing the podcast a lot, and we've had quite a few videos that got a decent amount of attention on TikTok and YouTube and Facebook, so really appreciate that. Also, I've noticed that the watch hour, you guys have been sticking around and watching longer, so we really appreciate that. I just want to make sure that I continue to thank our loyal followers for watching these episodes, because we really do spend a lot of time recording them, editing them, and getting them out for you guys, and so hopefully you continue to enjoy them, and we'll continue to get better at doing this. So, are you ready now?
I'm ready to read whenever.
Okay.
The article I want to read is from Sullivan, Illinois, and it is older Amish. So they're a little more advanced, but I'm not going to read the whole article because it's a long one. There's just a piece in it that I wanted to read. Was I saying writing?
Read.
It was written on August 31 of this year. Sullivan, Illinois. It says, very warm, close to 100 degrees yesterday. Our wise weather and science specialists tell us the reason for the heat and humidity is because the corn and beans are shedding their moisture as it dries out. Wonder where it goes. Those summers it never gets to 90 degrees. Or the extreme hot year of 2012. Oh well, what does this dummy know? And that was his summary on the weather. So, in his introduction, I guess. Okay, this guy, I know this guy personally. I've met him. My parents know him. He's a very funny person. And he has a story in here about one of his friends. It says, I heard that one of our taxi drivers, in fact, my neighbor, was in Sugar Creek, Ohio with a group of girls. This little flying Dutchman comes up to Gary and says, you a stranger? Yup, said Mr. Corley. Where are you from? Says the little feller. Sullivan, Illinois. The guy swallows twice, gulps the timer 3, and says, you wouldn't happen to know that homely, knock-kneed, cross-eyed looking feller from Sullivan, would you? Now, Mr. Corley, being very polite, said, yes, in fact, he's my neighbor. Well, he sticks his hand out, shakes it, and says, I'm Mr. Pete's Billy Miller from El Dorado Springs, Missouri, and I just came back to visit. So you can hear the way he words his, the wording and everything. But the thing that caught my attention, I figured we could probably talk about, was, well, then Billy is a German name for William, said he wanted to come through Sullivan, Illinois with his steed and Buggy. So he's driving from El Dorado Springs, Missouri, up to Illinois with his horse and buggy.
Which is about how far? Approximately.
It's several hundred miles.
Okay.
It's it's quite a distance. Says, yep, you read that right. We heard through the grapevine. That's the one that caught my attention. They heard it through the grapevine that he is headed our way. So we did something we never do. We stopped at the Schwann's truck, bought about $30 worth of fish because he was coming for supper, so we surmised. Fish were drying out, and we were getting hungry around 7 to 8 o'clock, and there was no Vilja. So we ate the fish, and here comes Vilja. He'd had so much good food given him along the way, he wasn't hungry. Gulp, $30. Oh well. Gary was mesmerized by his story. Now Billy stayed here a little while to kind of feed up his horse with Illinois victuals. He made it to Missouri with only one mishap in Windsor, Missouri. So hi Billy, stopping again. Now where was I? Oh, on Saturday morning at 1 a.m., we, along with Irvin and Mary Husseller, Daniel and Dorothy Chuck, David and Christina, Otto and Elva and Katie Miller headed to Topeka, Indiana to the home of widower and friend Glenn Lambright, and then on to Olin Shocks for a second marriage get-together. So that story about Vilja driving from El Dorado Springs, Missouri to Sullivan, Illinois. Someone do the math there. Look it up on the map. See how far that is, because that's quite a distance to do with horse and buggy.
Yeah, and some of you listening might think, well, isn't that common amongst the Amish? It's actually not that common. Like, we travel with horse and buggy, but we didn't go from like community to community or state to state. I guess we would go from community to community if they're close enough. So being about 20 miles apart, we would do that. And that would pretty much take a full day, because you drive there and let the horse rest. A lot of times, if it's that far, you drive there one day, let the horse rest, and then you drive back the next day. And I was actually just with my nephew just got married, and he's Amish, and so we were just there at the wedding, which is very interesting to go back again and be a part of an Amish wedding, or be at an Amish wedding. So this is an old order, not Swartz and Trooper the way that I grew up. However, they had somebody there at the wedding, a family member that was about 20 miles away, and they had brought the horse and buggy. In their case, it was a horse and a two-wheel cart, which that's very common amongst the old order. The Swartz and Troopers would use their buggies, but they would not go several hundred miles typically. Now, there are some that do that as an adventure, and I think it's pretty interesting. Actually, I would enjoy doing that sometime, just as something fun to do. Go travel that distance with a horse and buggy.
I know I used to dream of driving several hundred miles with the horse and buggy. You'd have to go to back roads because you can't use interstates. You'd have to stop every so often to water them and feed them, but I mean, it's possible. Yeah,
it's kind of like the people that do these long runs, that they do like a long hike. They hike from state to state, and they have to really plan out their trips. But in a typical Amish community, the horse and buggy is used to travel from their farm to maybe town to maybe a neighbor's or someone within the community. And those communities are, now if you get a really big community, they're more spread out, but most of them are within that 10 to 12 mile range. And so if you can imagine, every day, especially in the Swartz and Trooper community, we would wake up and maybe we're going to the neighbors to help out on the farm there, or we're going to the store, or we're gonna go fishing, or we're gonna go, whatever the case is, we'd use the horse and buggy to go do that. But and I know in like the older Amish communities, like the larger ones in Ohio, is a pretty big older Amish community, Pennsylvania, and they use they have a lot of drivers who pick them up and take them wherever they need to go. Like, let's say it's to go to the store, and so they don't use as much horse and buggies as they used to. But the Swartz and Troopers definitely still do. They haven't been giving in to the modern day way of living as much. Now, I did hear of. Have you heard of the New Order Schwarzentroopers? So there's a New Order Schwarzentrooper community that just started, I guess. And I don't know what the difference is. I do believe they can have skid steers.
Wouldn't New Order Schwarzentrooper kind of be like Advanced Old Order or something?
Yeah, I don't know. It's so weird how they come up with the different names of the communities. But also, I wanted to address something that people have been talking a lot about in my hair. That's something that they've been talking a lot about just through the comments. And then also a comment that was made about the way that we dress, if it's disrespectful.
Yeah.
And it's actually not. In a lot of ways, it's honoring to the Amish people if we dress Amish, because now they may not necessarily like it if we're dressing Amish and we're making videos for that, for example. But if we're dressing Amish to go visit them, they're definitely going to appreciate that. So it's not, to answer your question, I don't feel like it's disrespectful to be dressing Amish.
Yeah. Wouldn't think so.
If we're not Amish.
The only way it would be disrespectful would be if we're making fun of them or mocking them or something.
If we're using the clothes to mock them, in a way, then it's
very disrespectful.
We're not doing that.
Yeah.
Anyway. You got another story you wanted to read?
I do. It's kind of a long one, but it's also kind of interesting. It's from Lynn, Missouri.
Okay.
And it's Old Order. It was written on August 28th, 2024. So it goes in their usual weather, school starting, church weddings and everything. And then they were talking about campfires. It says, the Ute family had a reunion in Montana last week, so a lot were missing this last Sunday. It says, we also had cool over some of that time and even pull out jackets in the evening when sitting outside. Campfires were fun again. Then it says, campfires reminded me of Josh Miller's last camping trip. They were at Finger Lakes State Park, close to Columbia, which is only a little over an hour away. Having never been there, it was fun doing all the different things. Well, most of the activities. They did their canoeing Saturday on the lake, so our daughter Rose could go along as she was going up for the day. They had 3 canoes with the 3 children divided out between the 3 adults. Rose was already out waiting till the other canoes were ready to take off, when all of a sudden there was an upside-down canoe with no people around. Josh soon came to the surface and Chase, age 9, came up sputtering and a bit shook up. He had first come up under the canoe but was able to keep his head together and swim out from underneath. Then the shocking realization hit them when they discovered the truck keys were at the bottom of the lake. It was so muddy right there from all the canoes coming and going, making it impossible to find them. Thankfully, Josh's phone, which was waterproof, stayed in his pocket and was quickly gotten into safe hands and taken care of. A call was made to have us go locate the other set of keys at their place and bring them up while they went and did a few hours of canoeing till they were able to head that way. Halfway there, we got another call wondering why we never called while looking for the keys and if we had found them. I did have a set that we thought were the right ones, but it only said Dodge and not Dodge Ram. After weighing the pros and cons, we decided to keep going and give them a try with many prayers going heavenward. Hallelujah, the keys worked and we all had supper around the fire that evening.
Wow, that was an exciting day for them.
No kidding. So they had an Amish driver take them to the lake to get into the canoes to go canoeing. And then the non-Amish driver's canoe tipped over and the truck keys went to the bottom of the lake. That must have been fun.
Yeah, that's going to be talked about for the rest of their lives. Because
they're also, they're lucky that the 9-year-old knew how to swim.
Yeah.
So that could have been serious.
Yeah, and that's a great point that you make, because I know amongst the Schwarzentroopers, like, we don't take swimming lessons. No. So there is no, like, community, like, swimming pool or place that you go to take swimming lessons. And so every one of them just learns on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember almost drowning in a river when I was I think I was like 16, because I hadn't learned how to swim. And I mean, that's also common amongst the non-Amish, right? So it's not just the Amish, but especially within the Amish, the only time that I know that kids learn how to swim is when they are close by a pond or they're by a river or something like that. And so there are a decent amount of drownings, I feel like, that you hear about over the years.
I feel like girls are a lot more discouraged from even trying to swim than like the boys.
Yeah. Well, because it's inappropriate to take your clothes off, and you're not allowed to wear swim clothes.
Yeah.
So,
because my brothers went swimming, but we were not allowed to.
And you guys also live close by a pond.
We had a pond, like, I don't know, probably 50 feet from our house. We had a nice pond that we used to go have fun in, and the boys would swim, but it was
if you can imagine the type of swimming that we did when we did go swimming, it's just nasty, the water,
muddy and dirty.
Yeah, but as kids, you're just having a blast.
Yeah,
it's a way to get into the water. But I think I didn't really learn how to swim until I was like around 16, when I came close to drowning, and thankfully I had some of my friends there to save me. But that's when I really realized like how important it is. And I think my older brother almost got sucked into the water, almost drowned as well. And so that was always in the back of my mind, that he had that experience when he was in his teens, and so I was never super comfortable with the water. I mean, I can swim pretty well now. Like I really enjoy going into the water, but yeah, that sounded like an exciting day for them.
I had only those two marked out, but I was just thinking like maybe I could find one more interesting article, or do you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, you got something else you want to share with the audience? I mean, what's been going on with your channel? Like,
was not much different than yours. I'm just trying to keep up with the questions, like keep them answered if I can.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of them.
Oh, there's a lot of questions, yes.
Yeah.
And I've been slacking off on answering comments, like just writing answers, because I have been on TikTok very little the last week, and it makes for not a lot of answered comments, so I'm sorry if I'm ignoring you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, well, this would be a very interesting, I don't know, should we maybe post a picture of this in the YouTube channel? Post a picture of it. It's a list of Amish communities with the state and the town name plus the population and the year that they were established, plus how many settlements are in that part of.
Yeah, that is very interesting.
Like, it's pages of it. Like, it's this.
Wow, that's a lot of. That's a lot of. Maybe people could email us if they want a list.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah. If you would like to have a list of the community, just email us and we could send you a copy of it. And I've also had somebody reach out. Hopefully you found the newspaper source that we're using.
Yeah.
The budget. I did comment, and so hopefully you found that on that comment. You were asking about where we get the newspaper from, and so anyway, I think that's going to wrap up today's show. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Hopefully you got something out of this. Hopefully you found it entertaining, and we will see you in the next episode.